This lesson will cover the Performance Series Placement Test if you elect to have a student take that rather than the Compass Learning Placement Test. Reasons you might do this, middle school students, we don't quite have the placement test set up for them yet, and this kind of gives us a benchmark so that we can measure students' progress. So it's optional. We do have to pay for each placement test we set up in Performance Series, so we do want to be mindful of that. High school students don't need to take it, but unless they have been homeschooled or parents just aren't really sure at what level they're at, then it might be a good idea for them to take the Performance Series test. So to set a student up in Performance Series, let's jump over to the Scantron website. Okay, so you're going to log into our Bridgeway Academy site ID, which the number is listed here, with your staff ID, your teacher ID. Okay, so we log in with our teacher ID, and that will bring us to this page. To add a new student, what you're going to do is click on Site Admin and click over here on Create a New Student. Then I think I've shown you this in another video, you simply put in the student's name or their student ID, which is going to be their contact ID from Caselli. Then you're going to just put in their first and last name. Their password is always going to be their first name. So let's just set up a demo student here. Actually, I don't want to do that because I don't want to use up one of her licenses. So contact ID, first name, last name. Password is always first name with an initial cap. You select the grade level and the gender, and then that's all. Just go ahead and click Next. Show you the next key is over here. You click Next, then you just click Next to the next two screens and then assign them to a class for your teacher ID. And at the very end, you're going to just make sure you press Save. That's all there is to creating a student. I don't want to go through the screens again, like I said, so we don't use up a license. So after you create the actual record in Scantron, then you're going to jump over to your Caselli and you're going to send a student a note about how to take the placement test. So from the student's contact card, you're going to send them an email by clicking on their email address, clicking on Templates, scrolling down to find the Performance Series Proctoring the Placement Test template, which is going to look like this. Just click on the title. Everything, the attachment's already attached, their site ID, their username, which is their student ID, and their password is already there. All you need to do is click Send Email. Now, what you need to do next is check on their progress. I usually ask students to email me when they're finished with the test, but as you're going through and checking the status of your newly enrolled students, you'll want to go into Performance Series on a regular basis every day to check on the progress to see if the students are completed with their test. So you can do this by, we're logged back in here to Scantron. You're just going to go to your student list and just locate the student that you want to check on. Say I want to check on this guy. What you do then is you can click on the Performance Testing tab. So all I did was search for a student. I can search the student name as well, or I can just look at the list, locate the student in the list, click on the name, and that will take you to this screen where you can click on Performance Series. The student has completed the test. You can tell by the green dot. Remember, they have 14 days to complete the test or it will spoil. So you can see the status over here that the student finished the test. This is the only one that shows a duration because this was the only one that was finished in one sitting. If the student came in more than once to the test, it will not show the duration. All right, we don't have a science test, so we just click on the language arts. We can review the results. You're going to need to look in your training folder and locate the Performance Series document that shows where a student falls in the placement. They're a placement indicators document. It's called Performance Series Placement Indicators in your training doc. This is something you're going to want to print out and have on hand. That will show you, you're going to look at the scaled score and you're going to compare it to um, that Performance Series training doc. Okay, if you look at this document, we can see that this student has a scaled score of 2935. Then if we take a look at that Performance Series indicators, we can locate then the language arts. This is actually language arts, you know, is only testing through 8th grade. So obviously this student is already above that highest level that it tests through. So we know that the student is more than ready for 9th grade language arts. If this is a middle school student, then you're just going to locate their grade level and consider which quarter we're in. If we're in the fall, the winter, or the spring, and then see where they fall within this range. We're just looking to see that they're somewhere in this middle range, and then we can place them right on grade level. Okay, then we're going to do the same thing with their math score. Math and language arts are very helpful, however, because they just give us this rating right here. So we can see right away that this student is at the top, tested all the way through the top of what's available for testing in a performance series. 3,700 is a perfect score. That means they would have tested out a performance series, which does not test all the way through high school concepts though, so keep that in mind. This student would be, this is a incoming ninth grade student. I would put this student in honors algebra. Unless he has already had algebra, then I would go ahead and put him in geometry. We can do the same thing with reading. So again, we have above average. Here's the student's Lexile score. You can look at this report here. What is the Lexile measurement, and compare it to how does it compare to grade level. That might be helpful for you. We do go ahead and tell the parents the student's Lexile score when we tell them how they did on the performance testing. So what I want to do now is show you how to generate a performance series profile report, because that's something we're going to email the parents. So you're here on the student screen. All you're going to do is go to profile reports. We're going to pick all. We're going to pick math and reading because we can only pick two, and those I think are the most provide the most information. Going to locate the student. Then I am going to pick next, as you can see over here. And that is going to give me a few more choices. I'm going to pick the parent extended report. I'm going to pick next. And then I'm just going to click through the screen with a next. And it's going to generate a PDF of the student's profile report. And at that point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to save the PDF into the student's Dropbox folder. So I'll just click on the little disk to save, and then I will go into my documents, into my Dropbox folder, into my student files, and then I'll locate the student's name. If his name isn't there, I'll create a folder for him. That sometimes happens if it's a new student. Here he is. So I've already done this before, so I would just give this the name profile report and save it right in the folder. Next step would be to go into Kaselli and send the parents the results. So from Kaselli, I would be on the student's contact card. I'm actually not on the student's card, but we'll pretend that I am. We're going to go and we're going to find a template. We're going to scroll down till we get to online, not the regular performance series. So we're going to look for the online performance series template. And on this template, we're going to fill in the student's Lexile score right here. I'm going to put a space there. Then we're going to go down and write some comments to the parents on this paragraph right here. We're going to say the student excels in math and reading, and based on these scores, I've chosen the ninth grade Compass Learning curriculum with honors algebra. And then I would also, because this is a high school student, I would also uh, create a projection for this student with their ninth grade course of study, including honors algebra. And then before I email it, I would attach both the profile report, which I would go to my student, my documents, my Dropbox, my students. I would find the profile report, and then I would also find the projection, and I would attach both of those, and then I would send the email to the parents. For middle school students, I would not need to do the projection. I would just send the profile report. All right, and that's how you create a student and performance series and process them through the steps of notifying the parents about the results. And then you would hear back from the parents, this looks good to me, let's get them going. Then of course you're going to again check on the financial commitment form. If they're doing installments, we've got to make sure we have the installment contract from TFC before we set up any courses. However, we could go ahead and get them started on the orientation. All right, so that's it for now. Bye-bye.